Hi, everyone. Good day. My name is Dionisio, and I'm the co-founder of Make a Difference Travel and Make a Difference Courses. We are an education and experience program company. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about different facets of sustainability, and I hope to share with you what I've learned along the way throughout my journey. One thing that we need to review is the paradigm shift that is happening around the world. In this photo, there is a community of indigenous people, the Tumagat, who live very close to Ateneo, and they're negotiating with a large corporation. This company wants to develop the land of the indigenous people. And the response of the indigenous people is that, yes, we want progress, but the idea of progress that you have from the city is different from the idea of progress that we have as indigenous people. Progress for us means taking care of our land and our bodies of water. And that is the purest form of what the sustainable development goals. And so for our organization, um, we follow the four pillars of the sustainable and regenerative economy, which is community, or society, environment, economy, and personal well-being. When you have all four, that's when it becomes more sustainable. And if you push it to heal the environment or make things better, then that's when it becomes regenerative. We start off our story with the Philippines, and a lot of our forest has been lost in the last 120 years, from 70% down to 3%. And one of the things that's happening is that it's getting hotter. So 33 degrees above with shade, 66 degrees below, no shade. Right? And extreme heat and drought are killing the world's crops. And the farmers who have nothing to do with carbon emissions that trigger climate change are the ones suffering. Some of the farmers we know are not able to plant on their entire land because there isn't enough water in the river. Right? And what's happening is that you have rivers losing a lot of their water. Right? In the Philippines, it's happening in the Mississippi River at this very moment around the world. During the rainy season, the opposite is true. There's too much water, and it's causing a lot of floods. And so, this short video will show you how the rainforest can actually help manage the water, which is one of the problems we have today. So, take a look. The box on your left is a box that simulates a mountain without trees. The box on your right simulates a mountain with trees. And you will see that there's water flowing very quickly from the box without trees. Right? And that's a landslide, that's a flash flood. Right? And all the topsoil, which is on top of the ground, um, that's what you're losing, right, of fertilizer. Meanwhile, on the right side, the water's flowing from the bottom and it's very clear, clean water. And that's what gives us rivers and waterfalls. So, the real benefit of a forest. Right? What we do takes us to a site where we're trying to start a forest, and it's in San Felipe, Zambales. In this site, we're trying to reforest 4,000 hectares of ancestral land, indigenous land. And we tried to do an economic program, a tour in the area to build momentum for the community, to get them livelihood, and to also get more resources. So here are some photos of what people do when they go around the area. There's also, trekking, and if you're tired, you can rent a grab carabao. There's some archery. There's a lot of sharing on herbal medicines, right? On things that can heal snake bite, things that can heal fever or wounds. And we also work with the community to make their food something that everyone wants to enjoy, to have them compete with the best restaurants, but al fresco style. And there's, of course, dancing, planting. You plant as much as you like. Now, when we had succeeded in the program. We were supposed to pay the community several thousand pesos in one day, and that would have earned them, um, a month's salary in just a day, right? And instead of accepting the money, the chieftain then declined the cash, and he said that, "Sir, if you give us money, we might spend it on cell phone credits, on load, on three-in-one coffee. And that's not sustainable for us." And so we asked him, "What? Okay, Chieftain, we worked so hard to give you this kind of economic program, which includes your environmental restoration. Why are you rejecting the money?" And he responded that, um, if you're really serious in terms of helping us, look at our ancestral domain. It's large but empty. If you come back, please bring us seeds, because seeds we will only plant. And even if they are stolen, the thief will plant the seeds anyway. And my kids and grandkids of the town will benefit. And so it was a very long term perspective from this chieftain, who we thought, wasn't educated, but clearly he was the one teaching us about sustainability and how it connected to people, and the planet, and to the economy. Right? And so what we did is we started planting, right? And we got seeds. We did two things. We planted for the environment and we planted for the economy. And so this first video shows us what we were able to plant.
That way, so that we can we're gonna start the planting area over there. Something over there.
So we were able to plant, and it got very encouraging. We also started planting for the economy, and that was a different set of things to plant for. We have planted over 50,000 trees. More than half of them are cashew. They're growing very rapidly and they can really help the community earn a lot. That's great. And when people ask us about the forest, instead of saying it's about trees, we try to show them the different things that grow in the forest that are also starting to pick up and sell from the community, whether it's coffee, it's different varieties of honey or different flavors of tea. The forest can offer you a lot of things apart from the environmental matrix, and we are determined to show people that there's value in keeping these trees in the ground apart from the water and the carbon, right? But we need to understand how the forest works. We're at about 100 hectares now, which is about 300 tons per hectare when they grow up, and that will be about 30,000 tons a year of carbon, right? Which is quite a lot, and we're very excited about it. And this sort of agri-tourism or forest tourism program, we've tried to expand to different sites in the country, right? And so we're going around Luzon so that we have programs that can really, you know, protect communities and connect people to nature. Right? And we always say that communities are part of the solution to climate change, right? Especially because of a very unique local context that we have in the Philippines, where most of the people are farmers, right? Now, the other thing that is very close to my heart is the water, the ocean, and I like to surf, right? And I'm assuming some of you might like the ocean just as much or more than I do. And this photo was posted by a friend of mine, and it triggered us because we got very angry seeing a wave full of trash. We need to do something about it. Rivers like these became very commonplace, right? And it really bothered us to see so much trash like this. The thing is, when trash in the river flows down, it gets into the ocean, and then it gets into the bellies of fish like this yellowfin. And I'm sure a lot of us here like our grilled fish or like our sushi and sashimi. This is not the way to grow our fish. When you throw things away, they just come back in the belly. And in the Philippines, you know, we're one of the biggest producers of single-use plastic waste in the world. 700 grams per person per day in the city. So we are part of that issue, right? And did you know that if a coral reef or a piece of coral has plastic on it, the coral is 89% more likely to get sick. 89% is almost a sure thing. And when you have 1,000 square meters of coral, sorry, 10,000 square meters of coral or 1 hectare, that produces 1,000 kilos of seafood per hectare per year, right? And so these coral reefs are fish farms, but when they get contaminated or dirty with plastic, they don't produce. And so that makes our fish prices, our food more expensive and more scarce. So corals are dying across our country. And it really goes to this insight that people do not take care of what they don't understand. I didn't understand many of these things in the past, and so I didn't take care of them. But because of people who volunteered to share their information with me, because of resources that were passed my way and my own research, I discovered that we do have to take care of the things around us, and that's what we're passing on to you today. And that's also one of the reasons why you're all here today, right? So that you understand better. And speaking of plastic, we must understand that 1 kilo of plastic produces 3 kilos of carbon in its life cycle. And that carbon equates to heating of the climate. And that heating of the climate leads to what we're experiencing now called global boiling, right? And it's no joke. Kasiguran Aurora hit 60 degrees Celsius heat index for the first time in its history. Absolutely crazy. And it could even go higher. What some of my friends and I did is we started a program to get people to think about how they use plastic, right? And I'd like to share with you our BBC feature on plastic. It featured our surf hostel in La Union. Let me just restart that.
I talk to people in poor communities, they think that a plastic wrapper for biscuits is the same as a banana peel. To start this movement, what we have to do is to make collecting plastic simple, easy, and fun. If the bottle is about a liter, no?
So in the interest of time, I just want to show you we built with it. These are the blocks and the bottles we use. These are the brands: Coke, Gatorade, Powerade, and this is the wall. And it's still standing today. 1.5 tons of plastic in the ocean, in the wall versus in the ocean. Right? And we tried to get some popular people on board. We got Miss Earth to go around. A lot of people were listening when Miss Earth was teaching. And we were able to collect 10 tons, but that was very small, right? And so we were able to connect with an organization that recycles plastic and uses plastic as part of their cement blocks, 7% actually. And this video should show you what those items are.
Kailangan po magpulot ng basura para po hindi na po maging sanay ng mga taghahapon.
So there are different products that can come out of it. And I put there the amount of plastic in each of the products, right? 5 bottles, 3 bottles, 8 bottles. And they're 2 to 5 times stronger than regular cement blocks because they're not hollow, right? And these are some of the plastics that can be recycled, right? There's of course on the right side the stuff they don't accept. And this really goes to show that the circular economy is growing. There are more opportunities for recycling, and recycling does, in many ways, reduce the carbon partially, but not completely. And so it's still better to actually just not use plastic whenever possible. The items have been used in places like these, McDonald's, Makati, Shell. And so they are becoming more mainstream, right? As more brands see that there's value in using the recycled plastic rather than just taking virgin cement. Right? And there is a new law in the Philippines, the EPR law, Centered Producers Responsibility Act, and it basically says that you get fined if you don't collect the plastic you sell. And this year you must take back 20% the plastic you sell. Next year it's 40, and then by 2028 it's 80%. And this is for large corporations, 100 million assets on it. But at the end of the day, we have to understand what causes the plastic. And this picture sums it up. Everyone in the picture dined in, but those with the circles around them used takeout cups when they were dining in. We need to change our behavior. We should not be using takeout materials when we're dining in. We can reduce so much waste, save on so much carbon, reduce so much plastic just by changing behavior. And there are many other ways to do it. Another way is just look at the stuff you use every day, like toothbrush, and hey, use a bamboo toothbrush instead, right? These technologies already exist. Less carbon, less trash, and this one is plantable as well. And so when we talk about plastic and how it pollutes the ocean, one of the bodies of water close to us, Manila Bay, is heavily polluted. Right? You see scenes like this. And it's 199,000 hectares, our Manila Bay. And so what we did is we asked how much food would it produce if it was clean, right? Coming from the data shown earlier. So we got data from the Smithsonian Museum, and we did our calculation. Here it is. It's 2.9 million kilos of seafood per year if it's clean. right? And that's a lot of food that could really feed millions of people, right? And between Manila Bay and Laguna de Bay is Pasig River, that estuary that flows up and down depending on the tide and on the rain. And that river, during lockdown, when it got a lot cleaner because people weren't littering on it. Fish started coming out, right? And so today, we're trying to work with Rotary Club of Manila to clean up the river because right now you can collect 330 tons of trash per month, and we're hoping to replicate this more across the river. Right? And if the river can get enough technology, of course, it's managed by the local government. It can collect up to 660 tons of waste, right? But it goes to show that we also have to reduce the waste. Put together, these three bodies of water are worth almost 4 million kilos of seafood per year. And it's everyone's job because there are almost 200 cities slash municipalities that have water that drains into Manila Bay, right? It's just a lot of people. So again, we're showing this to you because this gives you a better understanding of the bodies of water that we often take for granted. We really want to ask ourselves, how do we make things simpler for others? How do we make this something that they understand better, that they can act on, right? Again, this is part of why you're here today. Um, for what we do at MAD, it's about protecting and restoring land and reducing and managing waste, right? But we do need more ideas and suggestions, right? Especially in a country where a lot of the youth growing up don't have the same reading skills that you do. In fact, according to UNICEF and the World Bank, 10-year-olds here have a hard time reading or understanding a simple story. As high as 90% cannot comprehend. Right? And, Filipino students are falling behind in their literacy. Filipinos have low average IQ. Our climate issues are there, right? Our behavioral issues are there, but we also are working with a country that struggling education-wise, right? And so we're showing this to you because this is the society that we live in, and it's also the country that we must help out, right? And so I'd like to introduce to you a framework, a concept that was made by John Doerr. It's called Speed and Scale. It's an action plan for solving our climate crisis now. And there are 6 things that companies need to do to achieve net zero, right? Electrifying transportation, decarbonizing the grid, fixing food, protecting nature, cleaning up industry, and then moving the leftover carbon that we still have to produce to live, right? And so rather than me explaining it, I prepared a short video. It's an interview of John Doerr explaining these things. So stay tuned.
So recently you wrote a book about climate change and the importance of doing something about it. I have it here. It's called Speed and Scale. What's the essence of the book?
It's actually not a book. It looks like a book, but what it is a plan. Because the climate movement has had lots of goals for a long time, but what this is an engineer's plan for how we get from 59 gigatons per year of carbon pollution to net zero by 2050. And the plan is available for free. It's on the website speedandscale.com. There are 6 components to this plan. Andy Grove would call these objectives. Jim Collins would say they're big, hairy-ass goals. But they are, first, to electrify our transportation, use batteries and electric vehicles instead of diesel and gasoline for transport. Second, decarbonize our grid, generate our electricity from wind and solar and safe nuclear instead of from fossil fuels. Third, fix our food systems. Voluntarily eat somewhat less meat, fix our agricultural systems and reduce food waste. Fourth, protect nature. That means stop burning the rainforest and doing deep ocean trawling on the seabeds. Fifth, and this is a hard one, clean up industry. How we create the steel and the concrete that we need for a growing planet is a huge source of carbon emissions and a hard problem to solve. When we've done as much emission reduction as we can for these first 5, there are still going to be some remaining carbon emissions that we have to remove, either through trees, natural means, or direct air capture, which is what they call mechanical trees. All told, the Speed and Scale plan takes us from 0 to 59 gigatons by 2050, and importantly, halfway there by 2030. We have just 7.5 years to get this done in time. And so the plan includes 4 accelerants, ways to make sure that we get it done fast. Those are winning the politics and policy, turning movements into more than protests, making them real actions, innovating, doing more research on the new. So we'll lower the costs for what we have now and innovate for the new, the now and the new. And then finally to invest like crazy to get this transition successful.
So yeah, it's very simple, very well said, and it's something that we aspire to do as well. And I'm sharing it with you because we ask ourselves at MAD, right? And me as an entrepreneur, like, what am I focusing on, right? Protecting nature, removing carbon, because we're growing agroforestry and making it more fixed state agriculture. We're fixing food as well. The eco bricks earlier are a sample of trying to clean up industry, but not quite there, right? These are just some examples, and it's a useful framework for you to use, right, in a free resource as well, just made by one of the best investors from Silicon Valley, right? And so there are 10 objectives and 1 goal, which is net zero, right? And as mentioned, these 4 things below, the politics, movements into action, innovation, and investment, are what makes any of the first 6 faster, right? And so you might be asking, so what happens if we do not act with speed and scale? Right? At the start, I showed you some of the effects of plastic waste, some of the effects of the forest on us today, right? But this next video will show you what happens if we don't change our behaviors and we don't change our economic systems, right? So it's a very eye-opening short video. So please pay attention. there you have it. We're showing this to you, and we're putting a lot of information together because we want you to be empowered to face the world that we're all inheriting. And so today we share with you practical resources with hope that it can give you a framework to solve these issues. And so in the coming days, I would like you to think about these two questions, right? Something to think about, and hopefully an activity you can challenge yourselves to do, because I'm challenging myself to do it every day. Right? Knowing what you know now and looking at the different suggestions in these resources, and that link, the mayor resource will send that to you. Number one, what can Philippine cities, heavy with industry, small space, high population, what can they learn and do to reduce carbon? Right? And then number two, what can the Philippine countryside, so many farms, cooler air, more land, lots of towns and municipalities learn, and what can they do to reduce carbon? Right? I hope you can provide three things that each group can do and share specific examples of adapting the strategy to the urban and rural context. Right? The framework I showed from Seed and Scale is very comprehensive. Of course, it's not all the solutions, but it does show some. And our own work at NAD hopefully gave you an idea of what we can do locally as well. Right? So with that, everyone, thank you for listening. I'd like to end my presentation. We are looking for partners and volunteers. Please follow us on madtravel_ph or at the Plastic Solution PH. My email's there. Please stay in touch, and I do look forward to hearing about the ideas you come up with as you go through this program. Thank you, and have a great day, everyone.